Picture a British housing estate in the early 1980s, frost on the windscreen, a hatchback idling on the driveway while the kids scramble in for the school run. These weren't glamorous machines, they were honest, hard-working cars that carried families to the supermarket, down motorways on summer holidays, and along quiet village roads on Sunday afternoons. Every street had one, every family remembers one. Today on Britain Rewind we're counting down 10 family cars that ordinary Brits could actually afford in the 1980s, and number 1 still divides opinions, still turns heads, and is still deeply loved today. Let's begin with number 10. Number 10. Vauxhall Chevette. The Chevette carried plenty of British families into the decade, even though its roots stretched back to the late 1970s. It remained a familiar sight on driveways well into the early 1980s, prized for being simple, cheap to run, and easy to maintain. Families bought it because it didn't demand deep pockets. The 1256cc and 1300cc petrol engines were modest but dependable, sipping fuel gently enough for weekly commutes and longer motorway trips alike. Inside, the Chevette felt basic but sturdy, with a boot that swallowed shopping bags and holiday cases without complaint. It wasn't thrilling to drive, but it was predictable, and predictability mattered to parents juggling budgets. Many remember rainy afternoons steaming up its windows on the way home from school. Mechanics liked it too, since parts were cheap and everything was easy to reach. But one family car managed to do even more for the same kind of buyer, and it's coming up next. Number 9. Austin Allegro. Yes, the Allegro earned a reputation for eccentric styling, but plenty of ordinary families genuinely relied on one through the early part of the decade. It arrived promising British practicality wrapped in a curious rounded shape, and for cash-conscious households it offered something rare, genuine affordability alongside reasonable space. Engines ranged from an 1100cc unit up to a 1750cc option, giving families flexibility depending on budget and need. The interior was surprisingly roomy for its size, with a boot that handled the weekly shop without fuss. Reliability was inconsistent, and owners often became amateur mechanics out of necessity, but many still speak fondly of family holidays crammed into an Allegro estate. Did your parents ever own one? Many British households did, despite the jokes. Its unusual square steering wheel became something of a talking point at dinner parties. The next car on our list solved many of the Allegro's shortcomings, and became something far closer to a national obsession. Number 8. Vauxhall Astra Mk2. Launched in March 1980, the Astra represented Vauxhall's first proper front-wheel drive family hatchback, and British buyers took to it quickly. Families appreciated its spacious cabin and refined manners, a step up from the older Viva it replaced. Entry-level models came with a 1.2-litre engine, while the more popular 1.3-litre unit offered a genuinely lively 75 brake horsepower, later joined by a 1.6-litre option for those wanting extra motorway confidence. The boot was generous, easily swallowing pushchairs and camping gear for summer trips to the coast. Reliability was solid by early 1980s standards, and running costs stayed comfortably within reach of ordinary households. Many families chose the Astra over the aging Escort simply because it felt newer and more considered inside. Do you remember seeing these lined up outside primary schools at pick-up time? Thousands of British children did their homework on the back seat of one. But the next car on our countdown became almost impossible to avoid on British roads throughout the whole decade. Number 7. Austin Metro. Launched in 1980 as a replacement for the aging Mini, the Metro was marketed as a British car to beat the world, and while that claim was ambitious, ordinary families genuinely embraced it. It became a common sight on housing estates from Cornwall to Cumbria. Compact yet cleverly packaged, the Metro offered surprising interior room for its size, with engines ranging from 998cc to 1275cc that kept fuel bills low for budget-conscious households. The boot was tight but workable for weekly shopping runs. Handling was nimble, making it a favorite for mothers navigating narrow village roads and tight car parks. Reliability improved steadily through the decade, helping it shift over 2 million examples by the time production ended. Many British children learned to recognize their mum's Metro from streets away by its distinctive round headlamps. Would you buy one today? Plenty of enthusiasts still would. One upcoming car completely changed what British families expected from a mid-size saloon. Number 6. Ford Cortina. Though it exited production in 1982, the Cortina remained on countless British driveways well into the decade, still doing everyday duty for families who'd bought it new. For years it had been the default choice, the car every neighbor seemed to own in some shade of beige or bronze. Engine spanned from a humble 1.3-litre right through to a punchy 2.0-litre, giving families genuine choice depending on their needs and budget. The boot was enormous by contemporary standards, ideal for camping holidays and Christmas visits to grandparents. Interior comfort was generous, with soft seats that made long motorway journeys bearable for restless children in the back. Reliability was reasonably good, and mechanics knew the Cortina inside out, making repairs straightforward and affordable. Many parents learned to drive in one, passing that same steering wheel down to their own teenagers years later. Its successor tried to fill enormous shoes, but one upcoming car proved just as beloved by ordinary British households. Number 5. Ford Sierra. Replacing the Cortina in 1982, the Sierra arrived wearing dramatically aerodynamic bodywork that initially divided opinion, earning the nickname the Jelly Mold in pubs and car parks across Britain. Despite the early skepticism, families gradually warmed to it, and sales climbed steadily through the mid-1980s. Engines ranged widely, from economical 1.6-litre and 1.8-litre petrol units to a smoother 2.0-litre for motorway cruising. The estate version became particularly popular with growing families, offering a wide, flat boot perfect for holiday luggage and weekend camping trips. Interior space was excellent, with comfortable seating that made long summer journeys to the coast far more bearable. Reliability improved as the range matured, and running costs remained sensible for ordinary households. Many remember Sunday afternoon drives in a Sierra, windows down, radio crackling. One forgotten favorite still surprises enthusiasts today, and it's about to make its case for a place higher up this list. Number 4. Austin Maestro. Arriving in 1983, the Maestro tends to get unfairly dismissed today, but it was a genuinely competent family car that many ordinary Britons relied on daily. It replaced both the Allegro and Maxi, offering a modern hatchback shape with surprising interior room. Engines included a 1.3-litre unit for economy-focused buyers and a 1.6-litre option offering more relaxed motorway performance. The boot was practical and well-shaped, easily handling weekly shopping trips and school sports kit. Some versions even featured a talking dashboard, a novelty that delighted children and bemused parents in equal measure. Reliability varied depending on the model year, but many families kept theirs running for a decade or more through careful maintenance. Did your family ever own a Maestro? Plenty did, quietly and without fuss, using it for everything from commuting to caravan towing. The next entry became the car practically every fleet-driving father seemed to bring home eventually. Number 3. Vauxhall Cavalier Mk2. Launched in 1981, the Cavalier Mk2 became one of the true default choices for British families throughout the decade, eventually outselling even the Ford Sierra in 1984 and 1985. Its conservative, sensible styling appealed enormously to buyers who wanted dependability over flash. Engines ranged from a 1.3-litre through to a lively 1.8-litre, giving families genuine flexibility for both economy and performance. The boot was spacious and practical, swallowing everything from holiday luggage to flat-pack furniture. Interior comfort was excellent for the era, with supportive seats that made long journeys genuinely pleasant. Reliability was strong, helping it become a fixture outside Little Chef restaurants nationwide, often with a coat hanger dangling from the rear window as a makeshift aerial. Many remember family road trips with the Cavalier's radio humming quietly through motorway miles. Can you still remember traveling in one? The next car became the hatchback that seemingly every British street had at least two of. Number 2. Vauxhall Astra Mk2. Arriving in 1984, The Astra Mk2 refined everything ordinary families loved about its predecessor, becoming genuinely beloved rather than merely practical. Its rounded, modern styling felt fresh against boxier rivals, while remaining firmly within reach of average household budgets. Engines ranged from a frugal 1.3-litre up to a confident 1.6-litre, with the range later expanding further for buyers wanting extra motorway pace. The boot was generous and cleverly shaped, perfect for holiday packing and weekend camping trips to the coast. Interior comfort was a genuine step forward, with families praising its quiet cabin on long journeys. Reliability earned it lasting trust, and it became a familiar face at petrol stations and supermarket car parks nationwide. Many still remember childhood holidays, first driving lessons, and quiet Sunday drives in one. But one car on this list became almost impossible to avoid on any British street, and its story still stirs deep affection today. Number 1. Ford Escort Mark III. Launched in September 1980, the Mark III Escort transformed Ford's best-selling family car into a modern front-wheel drive hatchback, and British families responded overwhelmingly. Around 1.6 million examples found homes across the decade, making it the single most unavoidable sight on every road in Britain. Engine spanned 1.1, 1.3 and 1.6-litre options, giving families sensible choice between economy and everyday usability. The boot was practical, and the hatchback design made loading pushchairs and shopping remarkably easy compared to older saloons. Interior comfort was solid, if unglamorous, built for durability rather than luxury. Reliability was generally dependable, and parts were everywhere, keeping repair costs manageable for stretched family budgets. Many British children were driven to school, to swimming lessons, and to grandparents' houses in the back of an Escort. That's why, decades later, so many Britons still say the Escort was the car their whole childhood was built around. These 10 cars weren't glamorous, weren't fast, and rarely made headlines. But they shaped everyday Britain, carrying families through school runs, summer holidays, and quiet Sunday afternoons that became lifelong memories. They sat on driveways across every housing estate, waited outside supermarkets, and ferried grandparents home for Christmas. Which one did your family own? Tell us below, we'd love to hear your story. If this brought back memories, don't forget to subscribe to Britain Rewind for more nostalgic journeys through Britain's unforgettable automotive history.